Hi, everybody.
Hello, I'm Ryan.
I'm Bethany.
And we are Ryan and Bethany Board Game Reviews.
And today we'll be talking about Merchants of Magick, Dangerous Business. This is designed by Clarence Simpson and is published by Rock Manor Games.
Alright, so we were big fans of Set a Watch. This is a full cooperative game. You get to use polyhedral dice, and you are fighting off all these monsters with all these cool adventurers. Well, guess what? We're going to be talking about Merchants of Magick, and then its expansion as well called Dangerous Business. Alright, so in Merchants of Madness, you are not the adventurers themselves this time. This time, you are the shopkeepers. You are the ones building these devices, these weapons, these armor, all these different items that they're going to be carrying into their adventures. So you are going to be kind of using these dice to craft these different weapons. So the way it works is it's a kind of a roll and write style game. You have these polyhedral dice again, which I love when I see polyhedral dice in a game. You roll them, and you're going to be able to use them to kind of build these items. High numbers are good. And low numbers can be good, depending on whether you're building things out of, regular materials like leather and wood, or whether you're doing it out of wild or arcane magic, stuff like that. So higher low numbers can be good. But also what you're going to be doing is you're going to be using potions to modify those dice. And you were trying to craft these different items so you can complete these different kind of orders, if you will. So you might need to have something like shocking sword or whatever it is. So you need to have two different elements to it in order to complete this item. There's cards, these orders, these recipes are going to be floating around the board in a circle. And if they're ever in front of you and you have the items needed to complete it, you get to complete it and earn those points as you're selling it to these adventurers. All right, so that's really pretty simple. You're just kind of using the dice to make these different kind of items, these different elements of these weapons and these shields, and then you fulfill the orders as they come in front of you.
But wait! There's more!
That's right. So, we've got Dangerous Business that we were talking about, and this is the all-new expansion that's coming out that adds all new different modules to that system. It was taking kind of a simple system of just kind of crafting these items and filling in these items on your sheet in order to fully flesh it out and round it out. There's a lot of different modules. You can use one module, you can use two modules, you can use them all. You can use none of them. So, but of course, that wouldn't be using the expansion at all, would it? So I don't know why I said that. But the point is, there's lots of different little pieces that you can use, and you can use them kind of add them into the game one at a time if you want to kind of experience each one on its own, and then eventually put them all in and have a mega game of Merchants of Magick. All right, so let's talk about what this adds. First thing it adds is the ability to claim cards. Sometimes when a card is kind of roaming around the board, you have what you need to get it, but you can't, it's not in front of you, so you can't claim it. So you have kind of these reservation tokens that you can use in order to claim those cards even when they're not in front of you, which is great. All right, second of all, there's all new items that you can craft, and they're more complicated than the previous cards, which is really fun to see, higher point values, but also you have to do more to get them. All right, so the next thing I want to talk about is you can actually separate out the more complicated items from the easier items, and then you have this whole board that you add in that allows you to work on the harder items. You have to kind of claim them in a certain way while still having the easier items kind of roaming around the board. So you have both things going on at the same time. All right, so another thing I want to talk about is the potions. I love using the potions to be able to modify dice, up one or minus one, sometimes you have to use a whole bunch of them to get what you needed.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Sometimes, like all the time.
So potions are very valuable. But they looked really, really cool, and they came in 3 different colors of red, green, and purple. Yeah. And I was always like, I wish they meant something, You're using all for the same way. Well, guess what? In Dangerous Business, the color of the potions do in fact matter. You also get a big bag that you get to use to put all the potions in there, so you're randomly drawing the potions out of the bag. But then on top of that, there's this potion module that you can add in that allows you to spend those potions in order to claim these cards that have really strong effects, that kind of rule-breaking things that allow you to modify the dice values or just do wild rule-breaking things like that. So that was really fun. And the last module I want to talk about is before you had the idea of having this little patron card, and they had some certain recipes that they wanted you to fulfill, these certain orders that they wanted you to fulfill for them so they could go out on their adventures. Well, this whole thing has been replaced by these massive adventurer boards. So the same thing's happening. They have certain things they want, but now they have a huge list of them. And each time you build one of the items that they're requesting, you get to modify their combat value. Yeah. So the more you equip them, the higher their combat value is. And then eventually, once you build a certain type of item, you get to go on, they're going to go on an adventure. They're going to be able to take down any of the monsters that are out on the board that they have a higher value than. So there is a level 1, 2, 3, and an unhallowed monster.
Yeah.
And that's a great callback to Set a Watch. Those are the Set a Watch style monsters that they're facing up against. So those are kind of the main modules I want to talk about. There's some additional solo things that you can work on. But yeah, and you can mix and match all those modules in any way you want. There's a whole lot of content you get in Dangerous Business.
Woo! Gotta take like a deep breath now.
I know, right? I'm like on a roll.
We do want to just point out that this is a preview, so everything is subject to change as we carry on talking about it. So there are these other cards that I really like in the game where you can swap a card. So as the cards are going around the table, sometimes the game is nearing the end and you already have everything to fulfill this card that's across the table, but it's not coming back to you. You can actually play a card down and you can swap that card. And one of the things that's cool about when you play these cards is that there's a turn order track and it changes every turn. It's not something like, I did this, so I'm first. It just is always changing who is first player, so that way you can actually focus on the game instead of trying to game the game so you can play the game. You can just straight play the game because the first player token just moves itself.
Yeah, there's kind of as an extra action step in between the rolling of the dice and actually crafting your items. So you get to have these cards, depending on which modules you use, determines what cards are going to be in your hand of actions to use. Some of them are pretty simple, just take a potion. But other of them, allows you to craft one of those potion recipes. That you use the different colored recipes, and that's really awesome. Then also one of them is the ability to make those more complicated, more advanced orders. One of those is the ability to claim one of those as well. So I think having that extra little action step in there is a great way to introduce these cards in a way that is very smooth, and you have to choose which one you want to do. It's you can't do them all, even if you want to. You can only do one of them each action phase.
I am a huge fan of that module of that, I call it the in-between action. Like, you roll the dice and then you take your in-between action before you take your actions. And I really like that because I like reserving those potions. I really like getting a potion. You kind of everybody's going to do that in the first, not everybody, but lots of people on your very first turn, you're just going to get those potions because you use those potions all the time. You need those potions. Those potions is what makes the game work. That's not true. The game works by itself, but I need those potions, so I like that I can get them regardless of if I've filled a row or anything. I can just build up on my potions really early on. So I like that in between action. I like that I can do those other things. In fact, I can't see myself not playing without that module because I want all the things that happen with it. And I like Ryan said, you can reserve a card. I can swap the cards. Like I mentioned earlier, that's one of my favorite ones. It's because I need to do that so I can make sure that you don't do what I can do because I want to do what you can also do, but I want to do it.
But you can do it first if you take it.
I can do it first if I take that. So I just really like what I call my in-between action of the game.
The creatures module, I kind of already mentioned, which is a really cool callback to Set a Watch. I really liked how there was the stages of 1, 2, 3, and then the final unhallowed one that gives you victory points, and that was very important. Basically, that entire adventure board just gives you an extra direction to go, right? Yeah. It feels like you can focus on what's going on in the circle, but also you can focus on your own adventure board or a combination of the two. And I liked having more choices, more things you could work on. You were never just like, I don't know what to do. I have nothing left to do. You always have something that you could be working towards, and if your board never changes. So if you're kind of stuck, let's focus on one of those for now. Build up my stats on my own adventurer, so that way I can get the points from that from defeating the creatures. So I like how you always had something that you could do. You were never just stuck.
So overall, one of the things that I really liked about the original game was how streamlined it was. It was so bare bones, but great. And I love that. And so this kind of puts flesh on those bones. So it still works. It's not as streamlined, but it's still the same game. You're just adding to it, but you're not adding necessarily complexity. You're just adding more meaningful decisions. And so I liked that. I did like how streamlined that was, but I do like some of the things. Like I said, I don't think I'd ever want to play without being able to play with the cards modules. I can't see myself ever playing this without that because I really, really enjoyed it. So it was able to add meaningful decisions to a game that was really smooth.
I agree. I think that playing the original Merchants of Magick, I was I was in love with it. I thought it was fantastic, but at the same time, I was like, there's more here. You know, there's more to grab onto. And sure enough, this gives the Dangerous Business expansion gives you so much more, content, I guess.
Yeah.
You already like the system. You already know that you like it, and you want to see what other options you have. This gives it to you. I was extremely satisfied with the amount of content and the amount of variety that you get from this game. All the different modules and kind of putting them in one at a time, or when it's fully rounded out with all of it in there together. It's a very full, rich experience at that point. It's no longer a simple roll and write game. It is now a whole thing.
Yeah.
Which, like I said, I'm extremely satisfied with how much stuff you get.
Everybody, thank you so much for watching it. Don't forget to subscribe so you can see our videos as they come out. Until then, you can find us in all of these places.
You guys, thanks for watching, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
You guys, thanks so much for watching. This game was provided to us by a publisher in exchange for a fair and honest review.
And if you want to see more stuff, check out over here to see something we think you might like.
And over here, we think that YouTube has picked out a great video for you you're going to love. Thanks, guys. We'll see you next time.
Bye.